Away. To update you guys real quick, it is 2-1 in the favor of MaNa. Speaking of MaNa, spawning here in the bottom left corner of the map in this best of 7 grand finals from Team Liquid, it's the red Protoss player MaNa.
Upper right, the blue Protoss. It's XMG's Lilbow.
Proxy gates, man. Almost guaranteed to be stalkers. Never see 2-gate zealots anymore. But this type of cheese is weird and not that common in this matchup. MaNa looking to extend his lead here. Again, guys, keep in mind, it doesn't matter how much you cheese or how stinky dirty of a player you are. There's $2,500 for first place. You want that money.
I guess so. And you know he's up a game too, so like why not go ahead and throw it in here? And if Lilbow hasn't been really, if he's noticed that Lilbow hasn't really been cautious about scouting his natural, I don't remember what those first maps were, but you know what I mean, then that's certainly another reason to go ahead and do this. And so far Lilbow not setting a probe out yet, but it's not quite that time where you would check for this. It's coming up though. I feel like after like the gateway's finished, it's just like he's never going to check his natural.
Yo, so real talk, to appease the crowd, I kind of want to see if we can set up like the winner of this match. Not today, obviously, but the winner of this tournament versus like Snoot in like a show match. Who's
yeah,
and we'll call it like who's the real best European or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
or who's actually the best European could be the name of it.
Another gateway comes down.
Okay, wow. This could still it's still gonna pair with the Cybercore. Usually you see the Cybercore first, then the second gateway, but MaNa just doing it slightly differently. Not that big of a difference in build times.
Lilbow's never gonna. Oh no, we just had a probe after the Cymax core to check this.
Yeah. Okay.
I thought for sure if the gateway finished, like it was just he was just gonna check. So those on his own gateway. Because
of the second gateway coming down, I don't know if MaNa could do this. The 4 extra probes Lilbow has right now is pretty monstrous because there's 4 probes he can pull into a fight. That's 4 probes he has mining. Not to mention the fact that the second gateway will be able to match production. He will start off behind by 1 zealot, but that's easy to overcome. Yeah. So I think it was MaNa versus Whelmu, and Whelmu did it to MaNa, right? On this map in these positions. I'm pretty sure, but definitely like the build happened. Anyways, MaNa, whoever it was, scouted it pretty darn early. Lilbow, it wasn't the earliest, it was still like you scouted it at least. But I think his gateway was a bit like later than MaNa's. So we'll see if this, you know, is really gonna play a huge effect or it's just gonna be like a repeat of that where, you know, Lilbow's kind of easy way to win here. The Mothership Core is gonna be really hard to keep alive long enough to get the overcharge, but if you can, that'll put him in a pretty good spot. It's all about Lilbow's defense at this point. MaNa, obviously his control is going to be very important to how he handles this match, how he handles the fight, but there's always going to be something for him to force the fight with. Like, Lilbow has to defend his pylons, he has to defend the Mothership Core. He can't just sit here passive and ignore what's going on. Probe does fall first in this fight, the Zealot's going to fall shortly after. 2 Stalkers running away to meet up with his third. 3 Stalkers, oh. Yeah, that's a big deal. It's a big deal. Another Stalker pops out for Lilbow. Oh, this is going to supply block Lilbow. Maybe? Yeah, you're chipping away at the... Okay, not quite, almost. No, he can put another one. Yeah, almost gets the supply block. This is still pretty tight. 4 Stalkers at 3, but with a Militia and a couple of probes, it's pretty perfect for Lilbow to hold this off. And of course, eventually, I mean, talking like a long time from now, he will have an overcharge. Well, it's not that far off, about another 15 seconds. So. A long time in regards to what's happening. Yes, yes. No, I'm just saying, like, it's not so desperately far away that he's like, dreading in fear, but with the probes being pulled off of this, Lilbow still maintains the probe lead, which is kind of nice. But another pylon gonna possibly... Oh, Stalkers thrown down for both players. There's a supply block. Overcharge, please. You know, Lilbow really doesn't have a lot of minerals to spare for these. Despite having that 4 probe lead, you know, he's just it's still really tight for him. You know, placing on a pylon backs off his Stalker count just a little bit. That overcharge is popped, so MaNa's gonna have to wait a little while. Usually what we see is people just continue to pump out Stalkers and they come back again after they know the overcharge is done. They don't try and macro out of this. Yeah, the overcharge is only buying a little bit of time. I mean, you know, can't station 6 to 5. We got the Mothership Core and the Stalker here, and the favor, I guess, of Lilbow. But MaNa, he's not really. He's chronoing out like crazy. He's trying to get that edge. This is gonna be a really hard fight to win, but it becomes a lot easier without that overcharge over his head. Yeah. So keep going after these pylons again, but no changes to the Stalkers. Stalker 1 goes down. Stalker 2 goes down. Finally, MaNa still has a lot yet to use a Stalker in that fight. Wow. MaNa's control. Stuttering step away from that, really well handled. Pylon giving high ground vision where otherwise it shouldn't. More probes being pulled into this. These stalkers are low. Only just now starting to regenerate their shields, but loses the high ground vision, loses a bit of supply there. But he's got so many stalkers down here. I'm 7-4. Granted, a lot of these are almost dead, but it's still...
Maybe not walking into the stalker or the zealot was such a great idea right there.
That's like a bit of a meat grinder.
Yeah.
Waves its arm around with the blade spinning.
Yeah, a little bit of a... that might have just let Lilbow back into this a little more. MaNa has started to build probes back at home. In fact, he's building stuff back at home. He's getting Warp Gate. He's getting 2 more gateways to turn this into a 4 gate. I like it.
Does he have Warp Tech? No.
No, neither player does. But yeah, MaNa's the only one researching it. Right? Yeah. Lilbow is not going to have Warp Gate, and he needs to recognize that, like, maybe he should go ahead and do that. In fact, he doesn't even have gas. He needs to put guys back on gas.
Well, MaNa's actually slowly starting to pull ahead here. I mean, he's caught up on probes. He actually had so many probes of Lilbow not mining that it was technically better for him for a little bit there. But yeah, this Warp Tech, if it finishes, turning this into a 4 gate could be the most dangerous thing ever. Lilbow, I was surprised we haven't seen him squeeze out a sentry. Force it off that ramp.
He doesn't have the gas. Like I said, he was only at 20 gas starving, and only just now put the rest of the guys in gas. He was very mindful of he was mindful of having less gas so he could have more minerals, which is probably very important in defending. But you know, now it's kind of biting him as he won't have Warp Gate, which is so odd to see a 1+ player warping in, another + player unable to.
If MaNa gets Blink behind this, he's locked this game down. Sadly, right now his stalker count is quite frankly pitiful.
I'm surprised, like, yeah, I don't know. That means that he can't defend here.
This is where. Worried about? Why did he send them home? Well, Warp Tech actually just barely finishes when the pylon dies. That's a whole can of awkward right there.
Can't continue to attack.
Needs to start a new Cybercore up at home, I feel, unless he's gonna go DTs.
No, let's Blink. Now he has to start a Cybercore and more gateways. So turn it into a 3-gate Blink attack now?
Could work. It honestly could work. He's down in supply by so much, though. The few stalkers he has, it's like 1 health, 21 health.
Yeah. He's only... It's so funny to think, but Defender's Advantage is finally coming into effect in a PvP. Lilbow not having Warp Gate, can't counterattack.
I really thought that was going to go in the favor of MaNa for the longest time there, but...
I think 30 seconds and he just all-ins, right? I think like the fact that he couldn't hold that low ground was a really big deal.
This is one of those like belated but good hold by Lilbows, I guess.
Yeah, well, we usually see either they peter out with the gateways and they GG, or you straight up win the game. You don't see this like petering out into a transition into like an expansion. It's one of the, I feel like PvP all-ins are the ones that you don't see continue on afterwards, but turns into a cool weird game.
I'll take it because this is better than the average PvP, but you know, the thing is, anytime, like historically, we see someone open with a cheese and it fails, they tend to end up losing the game just like 40 minutes later.
Yeah, well, it all comes back into like, you know, that one person has higher tech, higher army value, more of a bank. The fact that Lilbow's ahead right now will continue on forever unless MaNa like all-ins. He himself is trying to expand off of this though. With Blink, he can do the whole like annoying thing, right? Like try and snipe off stuff here and there. But it just, you know, can he really? I think Lilbow's going to be, well, Lilbow never scouts the base. Can't afford to hallucinate the Phoenix in case he needs the sentries. So he has no idea what MaNa's going to get. You know, he could actually be scared of DTs. Oh, he does hallucinate the Phoenix. So we'll figure that out. He has an observer anyways. MaNa has no way of getting high ground vision for blinking in and annoying MaNa. I just realized. So maybe not going to be able to do that? All right.
Ducks forward, picks up a stalker, blinks back, photon overcharge is pop. The Immortals are already out though, and for Lilbow, I kind of feel like his defense is looking very solid. On the other hand, this Phoenix, it does scout what's going on, even sees the probe transfer.
I wonder if there's any type of 2-base all-in you could do.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you just ask if Protoss have a 2-base all-in?
I mean, that would really, really be effective, right?
Sorry.
So if he 2-base all-ins like with Blink Stalkers, I don't think it's gonna be effective. Lilbow's gonna have too many Immortals, right?
I'm taking a shot at Protoss right now, okay? Just the race in general.
I'm sorry. Maybe MaNa's just gonna try and like play this out. You know, if he gets to a like 2-base saturation, or even if like it gets to a point where they're both on 3 bases, like they're really gonna be passive. there suddenly comes out options of warp prisms, or one person dares to go Tempest if the other person's going Colossus, and sometimes that can barely win you a game if they try and attack. I don't know, but apparently we are going to get a macro game out of a 2-gate.
Well, what's kind of interesting, and I know you've cast a good chunk of these with me, where like we keep seeing these late game Protoss where one player goes Colossus and the other doesn't. I mean, we're seeing Colossus dominance in this matchup as well, in this best of 3 that we've had so far to this point. I mean, it's game 4 out of the best of 7. I mean, it's so just frustrating. I don't know why everyone just doesn't rush Colossus. It seems to be like the auto win in this matchup. I know there's a lot more to it, and you of course can't just rush it, otherwise you got no units, no fodder, nothing to buffer for it, etc. But I'm just saying, you would imagine this would be kind of the go-to for people at this state. It's the passive game. They're playing it slow. Lilbow's instead going for 5 more gateways.
Yeah,
and this gets revealed.
Yeah, I wonder if he's going all in. He has had, he had a better.
I don't know,
supply,
Zombie Grub.
but...
It's only like 8 gates or whatever.
I mean, I don't know, man. Because the thing with Protoss, right, is that sometimes you're for sure they're going to all in you, but then they get a Nexus. So it turns out it's just going to be like a lot of production to help out getting the Nexus. So, excuse you.
Excuse you. Yeah, I like how that's become like our polite saying to replace like the F word. Excuse you.
Excuse you. Excuse you. I can't believe though that they're gonna get to a mid-based place.
Excuse you.
This game is really evened out. Lilbow was up by like 15-20 supply for like a minute or two right there, and then suddenly it just evens out completely. I think it had to do with like MaNa. While his Nexus was later, I think his probe count was actually higher. We didn't pay that much attention to it. But yeah, MaNa doing the exact same thing, getting a bunch of gateways and probably gonna expand.
Well, I'm liking the Templar Archives. I'm liking the charge here out of Lilbow. His tech is just looking amazing. The +1 weapons finishes up much further than MaNa's, but not that that'll come into big effect for the time being. MaNa, I'm a little bit afraid of, though, getting stuck in this sort of tier 2 area, right? I mean, now he's throwing the gateways down, a little bit behind Lilbow most steps of the way.
I can't believe both players are going to go for charge at Archon. I once asked on Twitter, I was like, what makes them decide which to do? And the responses I get were stylistic choices or map choices. But you think when they open Robo, you think the next logical step would be Robotics Bay. But not always it's the case, as we can see.
Well, same stuff another year blinks out. Resources lost, incredibly even at this stage of the game, too. Despite, once again, the way this opened up.
You know, be cool. Similar. They're both going a lot of Immortals, and obviously they're going to get Archons too, and Zealots, right? I'd be so cool if we saw someone who's like a fan of Crank.
Yeah, the hallucinations, right?
Yeah, hallucinations. I'm sure Crank's not the only person doing it, but he's like one of the few, I'm guessing. So it'd be cool if we saw that. MaNa is pushing out here to seemingly attack. Lilbow, once again, though, has jumped about 20 supply ahead. MaNa warps in now, though. I don't know. What if he attacks without the overcharge or without time warps? If he's able to snipe the... actually, I don't think so. I don't think he should take this fight. It's gonna get really even. 3 to 3 sentries, 8 to 9 stalkers, 3 to 3 archons, 5 to 4 immortal. That's pretty damn even.
It's scary how even it is, and it's almost disgusting that you're like, look, you can lose 2 gateways and a cyber core and have it come out like this, but it's gonna come down to the way this gets stuck. I mean, Lilbow's had Archons stuck in the past. We've seen MaNa get Archons stuck, but hold that thought for the time being. Is gonna push forward into this. Time Warp's going down for both plays, and Guardian Shields are popped, but looks like the Archons for MaNa holding a little bit stronger, but there's so much more buffer for Lilbow.
Yeah, MaNa's not... I don't think he's gonna win this fight. He's lost all of his buffer. Zealots.
Yeah, he's losing his Hardened Shield. I mean, Lilbow's Hardened Shield staying. Oh, but here comes some charge left. Might have something to say about this.
Apparently not. No,
they
actually go down pretty quickly.
Fast. Yeah, that was like 8 charge slots. I was like, yeah, they're gonna bring this back. Never mind. Lilbow also had level 2 weapon upgrade we didn't talk too much about, but either way, takes that series fight quite nicely. He evens up the series 2-2.
I like how MaNa GG'd in Korean.
Yeah, he's been doing that all day. Show off.
I wonder if he tried to like install it and then he can't figure out how to get it like to stop.
No, he probably just practices on the